it's coming. 200 devotees will descend on this place sooner or later and put a bug in your ear that may not sound very good to you or you may not like. And that's part of it. They say Prabhupada only gave the ABCs, but we are giving the XYZs. Recently, one man said, Prabhupada only gave God, but such and such Maharaj, he is giving Rasa Lila. So about the ABCs, we say yes, Prabhupada gave the ABCs. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of letters of the alphabet, I am A. You follow? So from the very beginning, he has given Krishna. And what type of gentleman are you? You don't appreciate this gift. Right on A. You didn't have to give B. A. If you can appreciate what is A. It is said that every sound the Bhagavatam makes is vibrating Krishna, Krishna. In a higher level, it is told that every sound the Bhagavatam makes, it is vibrating the name of Radharani. But we are trying to see, what is this? What is this? What is it? We have no eyes to see there. But if we can purify ourselves, means if we can enter deeply into this process, we can accept that which is coming down, then one day we will open our eyes and we'll see, oh, it is there, it is there. We'll enter deeply into the Bhagavatam, deeply into the mystery of Krishna consciousness. We may be very happy with A. If we can actually have A, if we can even come to the plane of A, what is A? Sometimes somebody was criticizing, what were they criticizing? Some criticism of Haridas Thakur, telling he is only Shantaras Bhakta. Haridas Thakur is only in Shantaras. That was what it was, right? Yeah. Haridas Thakur is only in Shantaras. But we're for Madhurya Ras. Yes. Haridas Thakur, maybe Shantaras Bhakta. And Gaudiya is for Madhurya Ras. But Krishna's flute also Shantaras Bhakta. And gopis are praying for the mercy of that flute. So who are you to ridicule Haridas Thakur? You pray for his mercy. Govardhan Hill is also Shantaras. Why we're circumambulating Govardhan Hill? Govardhan Hill is Shantaras Bhakta. Jamuna is Shantaras Bhakta. Why we're taking bath in Jamuna? Why Krishna is taking bath in Jamuna? So what is Shantaras? That we also cannot properly appreciate, but we think we will qualify for Madhurya Ras. So again, a deeper understanding of the most simple things, and Krishna is there. Krishna is everywhere. One doesn't have to go to Vrindavan to find Krishna. But if given the opportunity, please go to Vrindavan. That is something special. But Krishna is also everywhere. Just like Prabhupada used to tell about Jagannath. Lord of the universe, not Purinath, Jagannath, Lord of the universe. Jagannath also came here. He came to the Western countries. I remember for nearly 20 years here, not every time, but whenever the opportunity would come, I would attend the Rath Yatras, maybe in San Francisco or Los Angeles, or seeing the Rath Yatras. I think those are the only, in New York, Los Angeles, Rath Yatra. Excuse me, I think, unless once in Boston, I think, and once, do you have a Rath Yatra here? Small one or something?
Used to.
Huh?
Used to.
Yeah, used to, I came to that one. So those are the 3 or 4. So then after being in devotional service for more than 20, 25 years, then I went to Jagannath Puri. I went there for Rath Yatra one day. I was there when, on a high angle where I could see when Lord Jagannath would just come out of the gate, you see. And although he was much bigger than any Jagannath I had seen previously, it was Jagannath. I did not have the feeling, the other Jagannath I saw wasn't Jagannath. This is the Jagannath. But also the Jagannath. Jagannath himself came to the Western world by his own choosing, and has very kindly giving darshan to so many hundreds, thousands of devotees, and maybe, I guess, even millions of other people here. But we should try to understand, what is Jagannath? What is the Lord of the universe? What is he? What is his form? What is his mood? We should not just be happy and just settle that, oh, we're in Rath Yatra. It is nice, it is yearly offense, and yearly event, and we don't know what is Jagannath. We should give attention. What is Jagannath? Where does Jagannath come from? What is Jagannath's mood? What did Mahaprabhu see when he saw Jagannath? What is all this thing going on in Rath Yatra? What it is? What are we doing? Why has he come here? What are we being absorbed into? And sometimes we say, I don't know. There are three things that keep us from knowing. One is we don't have the qualification. We have not endeavored for proper purification. Two, we don't have the proper association. What did I say the third? I said three? And three, we have made offenses. Because of offenses. Srila Prabhupada translates Mahaprabhu's prayers a very peculiar way. And same way Bhaktivinoda translated, same way Bhaktisiddhanta translated. That, oh my Lord, I have no taste for your holy name, though you are so kind. You have presented yourself in names like Govinda and Krishna, etc. But I have no taste for those names. And he writes, because of offenses. Because of aparad, because of offense to the holy name, we are blocked. Because of offense, we cannot enter into the deeper understanding of even prasadam or anything. Or what is Gayatri? What is Gayatri? What is Gayatri to most people is a sound. That's what Gayatri is to most people. A sound that if you say to a Brahmin, say the third line of Gayatri, they can't even remember, although they say the Gayatri 3 times a day. Because they just make a sound and don't pay attention to that sound, or they are blocked in some way and they don't enter into that sound. That sound is the most profound sound next to the holy name that has descended to this world. It comes directly from the flute of Krishna. It is the sound from which the Srimad Bhagavatam has risen. It has risen out of that sound. Gayatri Mata, Veda Mata, the mother of all the Vedas, the mother of the Vedanta, the mother of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Jiva Goswami says the Bhagavatam is the purport of Gayatri Mantra. What is the Bhagavatam? We have to look deeply into these things. It's just not an anthology of so many unique stories. These stories are demonstrating things, consciousness and qualification at different levels, showing us the way, ultimately coming to the Vrindavan conception. The Vrindavan conception is arguable by all other Vaishnava Sampradayas. They argue the Vrindavan conception. What is that? Ragamarg, spontaneous love. Then no, Vaidimarg. All other Vaishnavas, they argue Vaidimarg. But in Vrindavan, Ragamarg, spontaneous love takes the highest position. And those with the highest spontaneous love, they're the cowherd girls, the gopis. No, they say, no. Highest position goes to Lakshmi, awe and reverence. Only Gaudiyas and those who are under the influence of Gaudiya, they accept these things. Vrindavan. What is that devotion of Vrindavan? What is the standard of that devotion in Vrindavan? Bhagavatam takes us to Vrindavan. The flute sound of Krishna takes us to Vrindavan. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? In the end he says, Sarvadharmam prityaja mam ekam saranam braja. Bhagavad Gita takes us to Vrindavan. That is called Alankar. He tells Braja. Braja means Vrindavan. You surrender into me, you come to me. And he uses this word Braja, which means you will come to me in Vrindavan. The sweetest land of divinity. The place of my playful pastimes. You will come to me in Vrindavan. Bhagavad Gita takes us to Vrindavan. Where does it take us? Otherwise, where does it take us? To Kurukshetra? Where does it take us? It takes us to Vrindavan. Where did Prabhupada take us after he preached in this Western world for so many years? He put everybody on a plane. He took them to Vrindavan, not to Kurukshetra. You would think, well, Bhagavad Gita was spoken in Kurukshetra, and he preached Bhagavad Gita. Why didn't he take us there? No, because Krishna's preaching at Kurukshetra is to take us to Vrindavan. Everything takes us to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu takes us to Vrindavan. Bhagavad Gita takes us to Vrindavan. The flute sound of Krishna takes us to Vrindavan. But if we are not attentive If we are not attentive to this, then we might find that we get lost along the way. It must be that people get lost along the way. Otherwise, they would not give up this Krishna consciousness. If they were attentive to where they were going, and they were not bothered by any offense, then they would enter more deeply into Krishna consciousness. And they would not find themselves wandering here and there in the world. So anyway, I'm sorry, but I was just getting a little carried away there. Hare Krishna. You have any particular questions? No. See if anyone else has a question. You're always there. The eternal face behind the camera. I'll come around, you see. Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
What's the result of offensively in the
money? You get more money. If you create offenses, you may become very rich. And then when you get that money, you won't have any interest in Krishna consciousness. You will just be carried away into so many mundane things. The greatest devotees of the world, except for a few, you can count on one hand, have always been poverty-stricken. They haven't been very wealthy. Poverty is a good sign for a Vaishnava. As we used to say, well, you can tell what God thinks of money. Look who he gives it to. Look who are the rich people. What do most of the rich people do? They live a very selfish life, mostly, and sometimes bizarre life, and so forth. So sometimes we see that. If you've ever had a friend who is a multimillionaire, they're mostly hard to even be in a room with. They're so arrogant and all these things. Mostly rich people are plagued by wealth. So once our Prabhupada's godbrother, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he wrote in his book Heart of Krishna that one of the results of Vaishnava Aparad is great wealth. Another result is the interest to perform great yagyas and to do great sacrifices. But never it is born the interest to serve the Vaishnavas. Never. That is not born there. So many other worldly interests are born out of that namaparad. Not that immediately your nose falls off with leprosy and you run off and forget about Krishna. No, you may become very absorbed externally in Krishna consciousness, but internally, nothing. That will be blocked. That will be blocked. No real progress. False certificate will be given. Then an inspiration to live in a fool's paradise, that will be given. But Krishna will never be given. The love of Krishna will never be given. So, but it is hard to do that, you see. Mostly the chanting goes on in Namabhas. Namaparad. Do you think Krishna is same as Durga? No, then that's not Namaparad. So there are the rules of what is the name. Two things, three things, two particularly. One almost disturbs all devotees. Remaining materially attached to things after receiving so many instructions not to be attached. Householders becoming so attached to their children. Men and women becoming attached to each other's husband and wife. Too much materially attached. Attached to wealth, attached to position. I'm the temple president. Why should there be any politics? You want to be the president? It's yours, the whole ball of wax. No, instead everybody's fighting for the ropes. That was nice to see. I asked these two, who's the president? They went, he is. Probably thought I wanted to file a lawsuit right now. You heard that old story, right? When Prabhupada was describing the universe is so big, and then within that there are 14 planetary systems, and it got all the way down to Calcutta, which is this huge city in India with, like 25 million people and, millions of houses, and one of those houses is our temple, and there's 100 devotees here, and one of them is thinking I'm the president. And I forget who that was at the time, but it was Was it? Oh, okay. So it says so-and-so, he's thinking I'm the president. Well, what we are is only the servant. There's a nice thing in the Gaudiya Mutt, which is nice. They say President Savite means servant president. He's the head Savite Pujari. Savite means servant Pujari, servant president. And even many of their acharyas are called Savite Acharya. President Savite Acharya. It means the acharya, he's also servant. He is also servant in the line, serving the mission, serving his Guru Maharaj, serving his Guru Maharaj's mission. Savite Acharya, like that. So, but all are servant. So, too much material attachment, that is one offense that devotees can more easily make. The worst one is Vaishnava aparad. That is more difficult to make, but we managed it anyhow. And a lot of Vaishnava aparad has been made. One older Gaudiya Vaishnava once, he said, yes, when your Guru Maharaj came to the West, it was a fertile field. Now the field is strewn with Vaishnava aparad. And so progress is slowed. In the beginning, it was a fertile field, no aparad. No Vaishnava, unless somebody carrying from a previous lifetime, aparad. That is also there. But no one making aparad. The devotees weren't making aparad. To have a little quarrel, the Bhakta leader with the Sankirtan leader, this is not Vaishnava aparad. That is, in the course of service, sometimes there will be some passionate. That is not Vaishnava aparad. Who is envious of a pure devotee, who is envious of the work of the pure devotee, and criticizes them, that is aparad. For there must be envy. Then there is aparad. Then there is Vaishnava aparad, you see. But simply, there was this story once. See, they tell this story. This brahmachari was out begging. He came to the house of this man. Whatever had happened in this man's life, they don't know, but he was really upset. And as soon as he opened the door, he said, you people, you beggars, you are useful for nothing. Just started shouting at this brahmachari. You see, he'd come to beg, right? No, sir, I only came, we were collecting some money. You are beggars, I'll give you something. The man was so angry, just shouting kind of incoherently. Went to the kitchen, got ashes, because in those days, everyone cooked with wood and charcoal and cow dung and everything. He got some ashes, and he had his begging bowl. He was a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Brahmachari. He says, here's your bhikshu, and get out. And he gave him these ashes. That devotee realized, whatever happened here, this man is just completely distressed. And I just happened to come here. You see, he didn't take it. He's not inimical to him. Something in this man's life, all of a sudden he opens the door, you! And he just goes off, you see. So then what that devotee did, he went back to the temple, he went to the pujaris, and he said, and he put the ashes, and he said, when you clean the Lord's brass, please clean it with these ashes. If you have ashes from a wood fire or a charcoal fire, the ash, you can polish brass with it and then wash it off and dry it. So he told, please polish the Lord's brass. Right? Okay, so they have so much ash, but no, someone gave this ashes. So that man's anxiety in the form of those ashes to that brahmachari, he took that to the pujari, who then engaged that in the Lord's service. A couple of months later, another brahmachari knocked on that man's door, and when he opened the door and he saw, then that man said, oh, please come in. I don't know what happened, but there was a gentleman, he came here, I shouted at him, I abused him, I felt very bad, I'm so happy you've come, and like this. Then gradually that man came to visit the temple, and that gentleman himself lastly became a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So his anxiety with that brahmachari was not aparad. If he would have made Vaishnava aparad, then the end result would not have been. He was in anxiety. Who's not in anxiety in this material world? I was in anxiety as soon as I got in the car to come here. Seat belt, watching the speedometer, police behind. It's just like, we live in anxiety. We're not in anxiety because we're always in anxiety in this world. But he was in just a little more anxiety. But he was not envious. Just he was become angry. You see. So Vaishnava aparad is committed when there's actually envy. Engage in prajalpa, we'll do not chant our beads, we'll do so many things, and we won't take to the name. And the thing is, we really don't believe it. It's like we're told, the room at the end of the hall on the right, they're passing out gold coins, Kruger rands from South Africa, as many as you can carry out of the room. Right? Why wouldn't you go there and get them? because you don't believe it's actually gold. You don't believe it's actually happened. So it's all about shraddha, faith. Increasing our faith. When faith is there in the beginning, it increases, and it takes different forms. And its last form is called prema. There's a verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. In the beginning, there will simply be faith. That faith, then, Sadhu Sangha, will lead us to Sadhu Sangha. In Sadhu Sangha, we will accept the advice of sadhus, and we will enter Bhajana Kriya. Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya means there we'll have Diksha. We'll take mantram, both the holy name and Vaishnav mantra. Then Anartha Nivritti. Without mantra, without Vaishnav Diksha, without this connection, can't succeed in Anartha Nivritti. Can't cross Anartha Nivritti. Must come in this line. It is not extraneous. We have to have faith. Faith is what draws that down to us. And if faith tells me I can't find a Vaishnava, I can't take initiation, then at least don't fool yourself to think that you will progress to prema without even passing Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya doesn't just mean how to do Achman. The sadhu will show how to do Achman, how to pay very clean dandavats in front of the deities, and how to just do it like a soldier. No. Real Bhajana Kriya means what's inside your heart, how to cultivate the proper feelings of a Vaishnava. That instruction we must get. And then we will enter into Anartha Nivritti, clearing all the obstacles that stand in our way. Then Nishta. Then we are fixed up. If we are troubled by anarthas and we have no faith to accept Guru, to accept Vaishnava guidance, then we cannot be Nishta. And this is Nishta is not something. Nishta is a form of Shraddha. It is the next stage of Shraddha. Although it is not called, they're not saying Shraddha Nishta, Shraddha Anartha Nivritti. The purport of all the acharyas, it is the development of Shraddha, Nishta. And when we are fixed up, then Ruchi. Ruchi means taste. When getting the taste for the holy name, you are safe. It is said you are safe there. When getting a taste. If even you're fixed up, but you don't have a taste. Mahaprabhu says, I have no taste for the holy name. Then we should consider that aparad is somehow standing in our way. There must develop a taste, a sweet taste for the holy name of Krishna. When there is taste, then we're not guided anymore like we're guided by the driving manual, you see. I don't read a driving manual in so many years. I have my experience on the road. I watch the cars in front, back, both mirrors, all these things. You have your experience out there. And that is your guide, not that highway patrolman's manual. Not anymore, you see. You go beyond that, you have an experience which is your guide, you see. So the taste for Krishna takes over, and that becomes our guide, you see. That is not to say Guru is not there, but our inner taste is there, and that taste guides us. We begin then to find the next step through a taste, and that taste becomes addictive. That is called ashakti. It means we become very attached to that sweet taste, you see. And then that attachment leads to bhava. Bhava means the awakening of emotions, feelings of love, sentiments of love. One time, just as Maharaj didn't see, or we were all sitting together and forgot, and he sat and he was sitting backwards to the deities. Once I was fanning Srila Prabhupada in the Delhi Pandal, and somehow, the way I was standing to fan His Divine Grace, my back was to the deities. And so then I'm fanning him with the chamra, and the kirtan and everything was going on. And then he, all of a sudden I realized he's motioning to me to come forward. So I come forward, and he tells me, don't put your back on the deity. Move to the side. So to fan him on the side, I couldn't even really do it. So it was a show. I was kind of doing it, but I couldn't really fan him. I was making a show of it, but I couldn't actually get any wind to go there. So I was really not fanning for For the audience, looks like I'm fanning him, but I'm not. You see? So is it a rule? Is it a rule that says you should not have your backs to the deity? There may be such rule. One should not turn his back on the deity, you see. But if you enter into some living experience with a person, you see, and you, for example, somebody does something, like talks back to an elder, So there's a rule. You shouldn't talk back to your parents, or you shouldn't talk back to your auntie or your uncle or whatever the case may be. You see, your elderly family members. So it's the rule. It's there, right? But the person that's standing there correcting you, are they just quoting a rule? No. It's made them feel bad. You've shouted at your mother. You've shouted at your father. And that other person, they feel bad. And they say, this shouldn't be done, you see. So for those who can't understand the subtler side, the rule is there. Don't do this. But those who understand the subtler side, that such things are painful, they never do those things. Do you follow? So when we understand what creates grief to a Vaishnava, we give that up. Prabhupada once wrote a letter. I am more, what did he say? It creates me more disturbance when you fight with each other than if you break one of the regulative principles. So we are thinking that if somebody eats non-veg, that is the worst thing ever. But it isn't the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever is that the Vaishnavas are fighting with each other. That is the worst thing ever, that he told. That is more troubling to me, you see. Why? Well, if you have done some wrong, you have eaten some non-veg, you are the sufferer there. You. Number one, you're the sufferer. You are fighting with somebody else, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or who knows, 1,000 people may suffer because of your fighting. You see. This has also gone on extensively. 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals fighting, 5, 6, 7, 1,000 suffering. So it is actually, so when we know what is pleasing to Krishna, when we know what is pleasing, when we are guided by that taste, and it's not just the taste that we are relishing, no. That taste is like that also. What is pleasing to the Vaishnavas, what is disturbing to the Vaishnavas? A sense, a deeper sense of divinity in this ruchi. You see, in this ruchi, a deeper sense of divinity, and then a stronger attachment, and then the bhava, the feelings of love develop, and then the prema. It means spontaneous love of God. And there are 5 stages after that also. But we don't speak much of them ever. Sneha, mana, raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhav. 5 stages also, 5 or 6 stages also after prema. But what is prema? I don't know what is prema. But it is something so wonderful that even the crores of demigods will stand in line for a drop of it. Even Mahaprabhu, he performs his daily life as if just to seek out a drop of divine love. So, what was your question?
My question was about Nam.
Huh?
I was chanting and just feeling that it's just so almost impossible for me, but for many of us to chant offensively and
Offenselessly.
And the question came in my head: can I serve the name, or is there such like?
Well, where have you been the last 3 months? You've been hitting the beach in San Diego, so you should be feeling that way. But we all begin somewhere. And sometimes we struggle for a while, and then we come back. And this is going on sometimes 3 times in a day. But when do you stop thinking of leaving? You see? Or did you not stop thinking of leaving? You see? I mean, in the beginning, everybody thinks of leaving. And then some people leave. And some people come back, and it goes on. But there is a point, there is a time when you stop thinking of leaving. And it is impossible to think leaving. How can you leave Krishna? There is no place where there is no Krishna. there isn't anything but Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada used to say, you just stay here, chanting the name and following these principles. He used to beg that, just do this. But we don't believe in that, so we don't do that. So, but what he's saying is, we have no taste for the holy name. Our chanting isn't even proper to serve the holy name. Two things are said. Yes, the name himself says, but you keep on chanting. You can't do the push-up, keep on trying. Now, if you give up, how you ever do it? So you don't give up the name, even if you can't chant the name, but you take up the service of Vaishnavas. That is your saving grace. Vaishnav Seva, service. And what is their service? They want you to go out and sell a book. They want you to clean the pot. They want you to paint the walls. So many things. They want you to stitch for the deities. They want you to do an artik. They want you to learn the scripture. They want you to sit in here. This is all coming in the line of Vaishnav Seva. In Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's movement, he said, if you hear the Bhagavatam without authorization, or try to preach the Bhagavatam without authorization, it just produces a mundane sound, good for nothing, he said. You cannot hear the Bhagavatam unless you are invited. You cannot speak the Bhagavatam unless you are authorized. It is not an independent endeavor, either the hearing or the chanting. We must be invited to that assembly. We must be requested. And Sukadeva and others, they're requesting all the assembled sages. They're assembling there. They are requesting them. You please give your blessings to speak on this topic. Not that he just went in there all puffed up, said, I know more than everybody else, sat right down. You see this in India. The speakers in Gaudiya Mutt, before speaking, they ask the assembly of devotees for a blessing. That they will, on your blessings, I will be able to speak some words, a glorification of our masters, divine masters, and glorification of Mahaprabhu, and glorification of the Supreme Lord. Keeping always the form there, keeping some form, some etiquette, you see. It's like in this country, we extend our hand and we shake hands. If we don't do that, people think, it's like kind of a cold meeting there. It's like the meeting of the hands. Hi, John. Hi, Paul. We shake the hands. It's just a cultural thing. You see, it's not very deep. But Lord Brahma also shook hands with Krishna. I don't know exactly which way he shook hands, but it says he shook hands with Krishna. So, but there's some formality there to establish the relationship. So, but if we are all just on the formality and we don't actually develop the relationship, then of course that's just a show. You see, show of humility, show of culture. You see, we have to enter into the real thing, the real thing of substance. We should think when entering any assembly of devotees that we are not better than any person assembled there. Right down to the children. Although if the children make too much noise, we may ask them to leave, not because we feel better than them, just we can't understand what they're saying, so they should go somewhere else. But the point is, if you feel better than somebody, well, that's the proof that you're not. You see. There's a Mahabharata, Krishna asked Duryodhana, and who's the other one? Yudhisthira. He told Yudhisthira, or he told Duryodhana first, he told, you go and find someone who is more qualified than you in Artha Shastra and so many things. You go out and find a man who is superior to you. And then he told Yudhisthira, you go find someone who has less qualification than you. Follow? So Duryodhana, you find someone who's greater than you. And Yudhisthira, you find someone who has less qualification than you. Yes, my lord, they both went out into the kingdom. After some time, some days I think maybe, they came back and both were alone. They were alone. So Krishna asked Duryodhana, why? You came back alone? Oh, my lord, there's no one better than me. Wherever I went, I saw that no one is superior to me. Then Yudhisthira said, why you came back alone? He said, my lord, wherever I went, I found that everyone is superior to me. I could not find anyone lower than myself. Lowest of the low. So the devotee, the non-devotee. Duryodhana, non-devotee. Highly qualified in so many things, but non-devotee. The vision of a devotee is not that he feels himself better than others. The real vision of a devotee, he feels himself servant of others. There is a danger if you know something. That danger is you may become puffed up while sharing it with others. Very dangerous. It has happened to more than one person. You come to know something divine or something very high. And in the course of sharing it with others, it vanishes from you because you become arrogant in dealing with that higher subject. It is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita and different things. Sometimes the grace is withdrawn from a devotee because of some misappropriation in dealing with the higher world. The higher world is not our slave. Although it is said, lastly, Krishna himself is a slave of love. He gives himself fully to those devotees who have cultivated love for him. Nonetheless, he is still the supreme. He is the supreme enjoyer. He is the autocrat. He is the one who is independent, you see. And he can withdraw himself at any time, at any moment from our midst. Sometimes we say, Prabhupada used to say, yes, Krishna has taken birth in the womb of ISKCON. But we should not think, well, it is said once, it is just sealed like the Catholic Church for all time. How he came here in the first place, we should see that. How he came in this movement in the first place and tried to hold, you see, that mood and that situation, you see, that the Supreme Lord felt so confident to come and take his place amidst us, you see. So I don't say that he's gone, but we shouldn't think that, he's in our pocket, he's here, close the door, he can't get out. No, if that even that much arrogance, he can vanish in a heartbeat. You see. Arrogance is never the qualification to attract the Supreme Lord. Never. Humility is the crown jewel of the Vaishnava. It is the it is the Kohinoor jewel, the crown jewel. Just like in England, there's one jewel of all jewels, the Kohinoor diamond, the crown jewel, the center jewel. So the most attractive quality in a devotee, Krishna finds so attractive, is Vaishnava humility. But Vaishnava humility, not like the humility of this world. No, not like the humility of this world. Humility of this world is weakness of heart. A Vaishnava is very strong at heart, very strong. Humility means submission to Guru, submission to Vaishnava, not to the mob in the street. That is not humility, to bow your head before the mob. Submission to the dacoit, the gundas, the thugs, the ruffians and the skinheads. That is not humility, you see. Humility means to abide by the order of our Guru. That is humility. And to sometimes carry out that order, one may have to also demonstrate anger in the service of Krishna. Like in South Africa, there was one devotee, a very humble devotee, and all of a sudden he looked out and there was a drunkard outside pulling up the tulsi plants, just ripping them out of the ground, you see. And he would not listen to reason. In the end, the only thing he listened to was a big fist. So a very humble devotee gave him a very humble big fist, ripping the plants out of the ground. What do? Someone comes in to massacre your family in the night. Do you very humbly submit to being massacred, or do you very humbly crack his head with a pot? Very humbly split his skull, if you have to, you see. Well, what is humility? It is not a weakness of heart. You know, generally whenever Hollywood makes a movie about a saint, it's pathetic. It's usually a person who just doesn't know what he's doing. Kind of just a weak-hearted guy, doesn't know for what, you see. But recently this movie was made called Gladiator. Did anybody see that? Don't raise your hand, it's incriminating. I'll say the same thing they always say. I saw it on the airplane. What could I do? It was right there in front of me. But that person in that movie, that main star, I don't know what his name was, but anyway, the guy that plays he plays some, what's he play? A general. I thought, this is the closest they've ever come to a saintly person. It's just he's playing the wrong role. He was humble, he was composed, he was in control of his senses. Nonetheless, he was firm and determined. You know, all the things that are listed in saintly characters, you see. He was not a weak person. He was strong, but he was fair and just. He was determined, you know. He was everything we'd like our leaders to be today. They're all just the opposite. dacoits, womanizers, drunkards, criminals. So people nowadays don't know what is a saint. They don't know what a saintly person is. You see, they do not know what a saintly person is. A saintly person is indeed hard to find in this world. But by the grace of Krishna, they sometimes come to this world, and they show us a proper path of living, a proper path of development and culture, that we can approach the perfection of life and become saintly ourselves. Why did you join this Krishna consciousness movement? You joined this Krishna consciousness movement to become a pure devotee of Krishna. If you didn't, you joined for the wrong reason. That is why you join Krishna consciousness, to become just like Prabhupada. Just like Prabhupada in a sense, a pure devotee of Krishna, to have love of God, to have love of Krishna. What, you didn't have a house? You didn't have a car? You didn't have any friends? You didn't have anything to eat? That's not why we came to Krishna consciousness. Maybe we can't even express why in the beginning, but in time, we will know, yes. We came to develop love of Krishna. Prema Pumartha Mahan. This is why we came. This is what we found in those people. Something is there. They have got something different than everybody else. It's not just a hairstyle. It's just not a neat way of dressing. Or they have got something, this new kind of mash or whatever it's called. No, they have got something wonderful. I want that. I want part of that, even a drop of that. We join this Krishna consciousness movement to become pure devotees of Krishna, to develop love of Krishna. Then don't let that goal out of your sights. Be just like Arjuna. See only the eye of the bird. See nothing else. His master said, do you see the bird? No. Do you see the head of the bird? No. What do you see? I see only the eye. He was told, take his aim. You know the story, Mahabharata? Aim. Sir, what do you see? Do you see the bird? Yes. Okay, don't shoot. Then another one. What do you see? Do you see the bird? No. You see the head? Yes. I see only the head. No, don't shoot. Then Arjuna just saw the eye. You see anything? I see nothing else. Just the eye. You can't see anything else around it. Nothing. No, I only see the eye. Shoot. Arjuna shoots him. It was a false bird. Pierces the eye of the bird. So we should have a focus. Why we came here. Don't become a self-deceiver. A self-deceiver means you come for one purpose, but you get involved in something else along the way and shortchange yourself for the real reason you came. You see? If you want independence, then the Hare Krishna movement is a bad place to be. If you want service, it's a great place to be. If you want to be master, this is not a good place. If you want to be servant, this is a great place. If you want wealth, this is not a good place to be. If you want to give your wealth, please come to my office after the class. So, just imagine that you enter into a place where everybody's giving, you see. I mean, everyone is giving, no one is taking. And the kind of an atmosphere that creates. Everyone knows the greatest gift is in giving, not in receiving, you see. We can be given so many things, but the gift of giving is greater. Even in this world, it is known. It is known by those who watch the heart, who study love, feelings, affections, and emotions. They determine the joy of giving is greater than that of receiving, you see. So much so, the joy of giving, that Krishna himself, he wants to taste the joy of giving. He wants to become a devotee of himself, you see. And not just any type devotee. He wants to become the type devotee, which is Srimati Radharani. What type devotee she is, he wants to enter into that mood. So the two combine, Radha and Krishna, and they come to the world as one beautiful form in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Krishna, in the mood of Radharani, he's serving himself. He's tasting the sweetness of devotion. What is devotion? Selfless devotion. I was trying to remember earlier, when Srila Prabhupada arrived in Boston, he saw a sign. It said, absolute steel? Unalloyed. That was it. I couldn't get it. Not absolute. Unalloyed. And the steel, that's irrelevant. But the man must be of the steel, not of the straw. So there it was. This is going to take a man of unalloyed steel. What stands before you? Only the man of the highest caliber of devotion will penetrate these shores. Huh? But more than the steel, we kind of always focus on the steel, the man of the steel coming in. But the key is in the unalloyed. For my purpose, if you have come here, for my work, if you have come here, and for no purpose of your own whatsoever, even down to one atom of your own existence, if you have come for me, then you will be successful. The demand was there, he saw it, unalloyed. No mixture, nothing of his own, only the work of his guru and the work of Krishna. And he came forward ready to accept that. Unalloyed devotion, pure devotion, not mixed devotion. Mixed devotion is a detour. So, yes, it happens, we get sidetracked, you see. Just like we made a wrong turn coming here from Vermont. I said, wait a minute, back up, this is not right. We went back, we had to take a little bit of a detour, but we got back on track, you see. But what if we just kept going? Well, we'd be over on the shore in New Hampshire by now. You see, you can't just say, well, I'm going. You see, like when we were hippies, we used to get out there on the highway, and you'd stand there like this, and you see a car coming the other way, jump on the other side of the road. The idea was just so you're going somewhere. But that's not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness must be going somewhere and know what that somewhere is. So what you're going to do now? Run around to everybody and make sure everybody else is on track. That's also part of the problem. Checking up on the other guy to make sure the other person is on track. That's also off track. Just put yourself on track. This fellow, the Dalai Lama, you know his face? Dalai Lama, the head of the Tibetan Buddhism. And he was in Kumbh Mela. And Kumbh Mela, the biggest... oh, but by the way, there's a video of Kumbh Mela here. We may see it later, who has the time. But the Dalai Lama was hearing all these talks, and so this one lady gave an introduction, and she mentioned this will be something, a memorable event, and from here there will be world peace, and it will spread all over the world. And she said something like that in introducing Dalai Lama in the ashram of this one yogi named Muniji. So Dalai Lama gave a speech, and he said, wherever I go in the world, whether it's religious or political function, I hear peace. Everybody talking word of mouth, peace, peace. You know, see, and it's like, yeah, right. Everybody's talking peace, from the United Nations to wherever, all over the Middle East. Everybody's talking peace. Then he says, but peace has to begin inside, he said. He pointed to his chest. Peace has to begin here, you see. So Dalai Lama represents the atheistic community. Atheism. They don't believe in the existence of Bhagavan, Ishwar, or God. They don't even believe in Atma, or soul. Buddhism doesn't believe in anything spiritual. And all emotions are matter and are products of the mind. So a Buddhist is actually not a spiritual person. A Buddhist are atheism, atheistic. They don't acknowledge any of the tenets of theism. But at least he knows that whatever you want, it begins with yourself. It begins with number one. So progress, if it's just peace you're after, begins with yourself. So we want to see we want to see improvement in the quality of the Krishna consciousness movement. No one would say we don't. We do. We all want to see improvement. Well, that begins with number one. Improve yourself. If everybody just tries to improve themselves at being a better Vaishnava. When's the last time you read the 25 qualities of a Vaishnava? Probably years ago. Srila Prabhupada used to say, you should read them and see how far you're developing them. Be aware of what they are. And at least in a conscious way, try for that. Try for those qualities, you see. At least in a sense, be aware. There's some quality development necessary here. It's not all about quantity. In 1972, which is a long time ago, and if you get a Back to Godhead magazine and see how many temples we had then, and then get a Vyasa Puja book and count the numbers of devotees, we all used to sign our own names in those books at that time. At that time, Prabhupada said, we have enough temples and we have enough devotees. Now it's time to boil the milk. And he wasn't talking about staying home from Sankirtan and just cooking sweet rice. Boil the milk means to get it down to the real business at hand. Let's get this thing together. Let's go ahead with the real thing that this is about. But nothing changed. That letter came around. It was stunning for about a half a day, but nothing seemed to change. Everything just seemed to go on. And focus was always on numbers, scores, sheets, quotas. And these things went on, and probably they still go on in many places. But that is not what the Krishna consciousness movement is about, quantity. It is a movement for quality. Lastly, if even one person becomes a pure devotee of Krishna, that may be acceptable, because it is such a rare thing. But yet an opportunity is given that every individual who comes to this Krishna consciousness movement has the opportunity to become a pure devotee of Krishna. In that way, by their grace, it is not such a rare thing. Rupa Goswami says you should become a pure devotee within 3 or 4 days of joining your Guru Maharaj's mission. That's what he says in Nectar Devotion. What is that? Why you should join and remain a Kanishta. Why you should join and have your little baggage of all your material attachments here. You know, you got your lollipops and you got your snackies in the bag. No, come and accept prasadam, take the holy name, rid yourself of this life, this materialistic, self-centered, egotistical life, and embrace what? The life of pure devotion. Then you progress through these stages. Prema is down the line. We think, become pure devotee, you get prema. No. You become a pure devotee and prove yourself there in pure devotion. Then you get prema. It's not all one just like a ball, everything in one. You just get it all at once. No. Once Prabhupada wrote Tushta Krishna, my god brother, and he told all my disciples are pure devotees. He told him. Why you say only one is pure, another one is not pure? This will ruin everything. So I don't know how this can be. How this can be. Everyone is pure devotee. How this can be. Then I thought, what do you call a coal miner? What do you call a person who works in a coal mine? Call him a coal miner. What do you call a person who's only engaged in pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee? Those engaged persons are called pure devotees. Then you have to go through these stages, up to Nishta and so forth, up to Prema. It's not that you just become a pure devotee in the end. You have to become a pure devotee. Rupa Goswami says within 3 or 4 days. Give up your nonsense. Surrender to Krishna. Why chalk it out that it's going to take a lifetime? I'll do it when I'm older. Right now I want to enjoy being the temple president. I want to enjoy being the Sankirtan. I want to enjoy being the Pujari so everybody looks at me when I'm waving the ghee lamp or something. You know, you ever notice a good Pujari, you can't even see him up there. Sometimes they even walk in front of the deities. It's like they're invisible. Because a good Pujari doesn't want to obstruct the view of the deity, you see. He's moving around and doing things so people aren't having the darshan. He doesn't just get right up there and show you his back and doing things like that. They seem to have a mystical thing about him. They just move around there. You don't see him. Pujari means always with the deity and unseen. You see? In Vrindavan, it's so charming, right? Pujaris are always just like coming around. I was about to show you about half their face around the door. You see, they're always peering back, peering like that. When they close the doors, they have a little technique for doing that. They close the door little by little, by little, by little, by little. And if you look in the temple room, everybody's drawn to the center. In the beginning, you're all over the room, and in the end, everybody's drawn to the center until the door is just like a half an inch. And you can just see Krishna for the last time that day, and the Lord takes rest. No, anyway, I was remembering that. So, what is that? Anyway, back to that point that self-improvement, you know. People tell about these self-improvement workshops and all these things. That's what the ashram is. An ashram is an intense, an unending seminar for self-improvement. It starts from 3 o'clock in the morning, and it don't stop till 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. It is for self-improvement. It's not for finding if you're looking for a place to live, the world's a great place. There's beautiful lakes, mountains out there. You know, the temples are horrible places to live, actually. If you want to be an enjoyer, if you want all these things, then why do you want to live in a temple? That's terrible. But if you want self-improvement, it's about your only choice, you see. Get to the temple because that's where the Lord is. That's where the Lord's devotees are. That's where the prasadam is. And that's where the holy name is. That's where the scripture is. You don't have to buy all the books. You just come and move in the temple. You get them for free. In fact, you get so many of them, you get to give them to other people. Yeah. All right. Hare Krishna. thank you for coming and making me tell something about Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Thank you for this gift also.